Welcome in. It's another episode of the Face Mask Podcast. I am Nick Payne, taking you through the NFL playoffs as they continue along. Yesterday, we went over the Saturday slate, the games involving Rams, Packers, and Ravens, Bills. Today, we look at the Sunday slate, breaking these games down to hopefully give a little bit of insight, a little bit of an inkling leading up to Face Mask Podcast's DFS selections and picks for the divisional weekend. We got two exciting games on Saturday. Just might have a more exciting couple of games on Sunday. Not to discredit the Saturday games. These should all four be good, but the matchups on Sunday are juicy. So let's dive right in. The early game. The AFC's number one seed, the Kansas City Chiefs, will play host to the Cleveland Browns, fresh off hanging 45 points on the Pittsburgh Steelers in what was probably the biggest win for the Browns franchise in 25, 30 years. I mean, you want to talk about showing up in a situation where they haven't won in Pittsburgh in almost 2 decades, and they blew the doors off the Steelers season. So they're hot as they roll into Kansas City to face Patrick Mahomes. And the Chiefs, who, as you know, they got to enjoy the bye week in the AFC. It was the Packers in the NFC, it's the Chiefs in the AFC. So the Browns certainly have their work cut out for them. But what made their win against Pittsburgh even more impressive was they were pretty significantly shorthanded due to COVID protocols. You know, head coach Kevin Stefanski wasn't able to be on the sidelines, and once the game started, wasn't allowed to communicate with coaches. So he wasn't there. He comes back this week. They were missing multiple cornerbacks, including Denzel Ward. They get them back. So the defense gets a little bit better. And then on offense, they were missing all-pro left guard Joel Bitonio. He comes back. So not only are the Browns rolling, they're getting a little bit healthier for this game. The Browns are in a very interesting spot right now. Are they the clear underdogs? Yeah. Regardless of all of the players and personnel that they are getting back this week. You're talking about the defending Super Bowl champs and a Kansas City Chiefs team that can lay 30, 35 points on any given opponent any given day they show up to the stadium. But it should be good. I mean, there should be fireworks in this game. For the Browns, again, coming off a 45-point explosion, will Patrick Mahomes throw or be the reason for 4 turnovers like Ben Roethlisberger was? Hard to see it, to put it lightly. Can't imagine Patrick Mahomes struggles the way Big Ben did. But you can't completely discredit what the Browns did. They looked phenomenal. They'll try to, do it again on the strength of their running game. That is what their offense runs through. Nick Chubb, man, probably the best pure rusher in the NFL outside of Derrick Henry. Made mincemeat of the Steelers' defense, which coming into the playoffs was probably the best defensive unit overall. The Steelers, I think it's fair to say now, were never as good as their record indicated, but that defense was for real. Now they get the Chiefs, who are as good as their record indicates. They are 14-2 for a reason. And this year, the Chiefs had a good defense. They had good numbers as far as stopping the run, against the run. But a lot of that has to do with, you can't just, if you're a run-first team, or if you're a team that wants to run the ball, you can't just assume that you can go into Kansas City and just do that. Because the Chiefs score in bunches and they score fast. And it oftentimes leaves teams, their opponents, having to abandon the run. Different situation in the playoffs, obviously. And, the Browns are going to make every effort that they can to keep the Chiefs offense on the sidelines. You do that by successfully running the ball. But you're not going to keep them on the sideline forever. You are going to have to score points. So I do think the Browns end up throwing the ball a little bit more than they probably want to in this game. But it's the playoffs. You have to be willing to roll with the punches. You have to be willing to make adjustments, the necessary adjustments. And you're going to have to play pretty much a perfect game and have a perfect game plan against this Chiefs team. So maybe Nick Chubb is involved in the passing game a little bit more. Obviously, they have the best complementary running back in the NFL as well with Kareem Hunt, which, by the way, this is a revenge game for Kareem Hunt. Not everyone believes in that mantra. I do. I personally do. If I see a player going up against a former team, the Chiefs drafted Kareem Hunt. I think he won Rookie of the Year with them. Before obviously getting released and then ultimately ended up on the Browns. Revenge game for Kareem Hunt. The Browns are going to funnel production to both Chubb and Hunt. Hunt might be a little bit more involved, again, because Browns are going to have to throw. You have to keep pace with this Chiefs offense. They're going to score points. I'm not sure what the over-under in this game is. It's probably got to be somewhere around 50. And as long as the weather cooperates to a certain extent, the over should hit. These offenses are good. So the Browns are going to want to run the ball, but obviously you got to score points, and you're going to have to do it through the air if you want to keep up with this Chiefs offense. So Baker Mayfield's going to have to play his best game of the year, and he has been playing very well. Hasn't had a turnover or at least an interception in a while. He was pretty he was pretty clean in the turnover department for the entire second half of the season. So the Browns are going to need Mayfield to continue to be at his best. Jarvis Landry going to see a lot of targets in this game. Rashard Higgins is going to have to be involved. The Browns deploy multiple tight ends. Austin Hooper. Harrison Bryant, he was also on the COVID list. They get him back. So it's going to be all hands on deck for the Browns pass catchers. Again, it's a tough matchup. The Chiefs have a respectable defense, better than respectable. It's a good unit overall. But the Browns offense, 45 points against the Steelers. I mean, if they can do that, then there's no reason to believe they can't have success on Sunday. With the Chiefs, I mean, what do you need to say? They've got the best quarterback in the NFL. They've got the best tight end in the NFL. They've got a top 2 wide receiver. The run game, that's probably the weak point of their offense at this point. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been decent, not great, not consistently very good this year. But I would have to imagine in the playoffs, especially if the Chiefs have a lead, Edwards-Helaire is going to be involved. Could go a little undervalued in DFS, to be honest, as a home running back. We'll check those prices for you and get back to you. But yeah, I mean, if the Chiefs score less than 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, that's what comes as a shocker. I would not take the under on that. This offense is officially well rested, having had the bye week. Their title defense starts now. It starts Sunday. And to the point, some of the best offensive personnel in the game. Right now, they've also got, Andy Reid is a Hall of Fame head coach. They have got the blueprint for NFL offenses. They throw the ball with all kinds of success. They're efficient. They're fast. They move up and down the field pretty much at will, pretty much at whenever they want to wake up. It truly feels like all the Chiefs have to do is just flip a switch. Travis Kelce just had one of the best seasons in NFL history as far as tight ends go. And Tyreek Hill, I mean, man, the Browns, you have to be happy that Denzel Ward is back. But even with Ward, you have to help with a safety over the top with a guy like Tyreek Hill. He's the fastest wide receiver in the NFL right now. Elite talent all over the place. Impressive run by the Browns. Impressive that they've made it this far and that they get the opportunity to play this week in the divisional round. But the Chiefs pose the most difficult matchup for anybody. For anyone that has to play the Chiefs, you are going up against the best. So I expect the Chiefs to win. I expect game script to favor a guy like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Le'Veon Bell will probably be involved, but not before they hang a ton of passing yardage and scores on the Browns. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of how many touchdowns they'll score. So, should be a good game if you like offense. I have no doubt about that. To the later game. Possibly the most intriguing matchup of the weekend. It's Saints-Bucks Part 3. Tom Brady goes back to the Superdome to play Drew Brees and New Orleans. Matchup between two 40-plus-year-old Hall of Fame quarterbacks. This one has all the intrigue. Tom Brady had previously never been swept by a division opponent. And in the second game in Tampa, they got absolutely smoked by New Orleans. 38-3. 38-10. I think it was 38-3. I don't think they scored a touchdown. It was just a bad overall showing by the Bucs. They get that opportunity for revenge against the Saints team that almost feels like they sleptwalked through a victory against the Bears. Now they get to host their division rival at the Dome. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored all weekend, especially all day Sunday. I just got finished talking about a revenge game for Kareem Hunt in that he used to play for his upcoming opponent. Not the exact same situation with Brady, but it's revenge in the sense that he lost both games to New Orleans in the regular season. He gets to return to the scene of the crime. Gets to play the team that forced Brady and the Bucs to go on the road for the duration of the playoffs. For the Bucs, I mean, they did it again. Against a strong Washington defense, they rolled. Chris Godwin scored. Antonio Brown scored. Mike Evans had a big game. And Tom Brady still looks like Tom Brady. Saints obviously pose a difficult matchup. You may be familiar with the rivalry within the rivalry between Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore. That's going to be must-see TV this weekend. Lattimore tends to get the best of Evans, but this is their first playoff matchup, so kind of like it's all bets are off. I mean, again, the history of the matchup favors Lattimore, but right now Mike Evans, I think it's fair to say, is the Bucs wide receiver one. He didn't score a touchdown, but he's been Tom Brady's go-to guy many, many times this year. So he will draw Lattimore, and then even if all Mike Evans does is force Lattimore to pay all attention to him, you still have Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin. I think this offense, let's put it this way. They're going to score more than 3 points like they did in their most recent matchup. I think this Bucs offense comes in motivated. I think they come in feeling good after their first playoff win. And I think they score points against New Orleans. You remember, Javon Wims for the Bears, had a wide open touchdown and he just dropped it. So these Saints corners can be beaten. And you're talking about significantly better personnel for Tampa Bay than Chicago had. So I don't feel good about the Bucs' run game here. The Saints are actually very strong against the run. One of the best defenses in the league. So the Bucs are gonna have to do it on the strength of their passing game, and you're not gonna hear me bet against them at this point. They've been rolling for the past month to end the regular season, and they dropped another 30+ against Washington. For the Saints, I mean, yes, they won both of the regular season games. Yes, Drew Brees is healthy. Yes, they have an elite, outstanding talent in the backfield in Alvin Kamara, and Michael Thomas is now healthy. So the passing offense should be, it's full systems go for New Orleans. The Saints might struggle to run the ball in this game. The Bucs they're allowing the fewest rushing yards per game for the season against the run. They have been leakier against the pass. So yeah, I think the passing offenses are going to be on full display in this game. There could be some fireworks from the quarterbacks. In what, more than a few people are speculating could be Drew Brees' final season. Those whispers are becoming a little bit more like murmurs now. So of course the Saints are going to be motivated if this is Brees' last hurrah. If he, maybe he feels like this is his last best opportunity to get to the Super Bowl, get that second Super Bowl ring, Drew Brees. I mean, they certainly have the personnel to do it. Alvin Kamara is special. He does not need to be a between the tackles runner to have success, and I don't think they're going to ask him to do that this week. He's going to be more of that elite pass catcher out of the backfield, again, because the Bucs are strong against the run. And they're getting both Steve McClendon and Devin White back, who missed the game against Washington due to COVID protocols. They're back, so the Bucs' already strong defense gets a boost. So, wouldn't surprise me to see Latavius Murray line up more as the traditional running back for the Saints this week and have Alvin Kamara running lots of routes out of the backfield, in the slot, maybe together with Latavius Murray, with Brees in the backfield. They're going to have to show the Bucs a lot of different looks because this defense is good, especially against the run. I do think the Saints will have success throwing the ball. The Bucs corners and secondary in general started the season off strong, but they wavered as the season went on a little bit. There was more production allowed to opposing pass catchers against the Bucs. Again, partially because you can't really run on them. You're not going to have the amount of success against the run that you would against other teams. So you're forced to throw. But it's been proven Tampa Bay can be thrown on a little bit. And obviously the Saints have the chops. The veteran Hall of Fame quarterback who has seen it all, seen everything. Both quarterbacks have seen it all. There's no surprises for either of these guys anymore. But the Saints are going to have to rely on their pass game. Those sub packages where Taysom Hill comes in, I don't know how much success he's going to have running. 9 times out of 10, if Taysom Hill's in the backfield and takes the snap, he's going to run. The Bucs stop the run. So if Taysom Hill is back there, if you're the Saints, you probably want to have him throw a little bit more. There's going to be a lot of points scored. But I think I think so far I've been chalk as far as predicting that I think the home teams will win. Not this time. Again, I know that New Orleans got the Bucs twice this year, but if we've learned anything about Tom Brady over the years, love him or hate him, he's the ultimate competitor, and he's got that sweep on his mind. This is his opportunity for revenge, to prove that his team is better than Drew Brees' team, and with a spot in the NFC Championship game on the line, I think Tom Brady comes through. I see the Bucs beating the Saints, and I see the Bucs advancing. I think that means good things for the Bucs passing game. If they're winning, late, they'll want to use more opportunities to run the ball to try to salt it away. Ronald Jones missed the entire game against Washington with an injury, so it was the Leonard Fournette show. We'll see what that backfield split looks like. I'm likely going to advise just avoid it altogether. And hang your hat on the Bucs passing offense. And likewise for the Saints. I think points are going to be scored. I think the Bucs are going to have a lead in this game, which means the Saints will be throwing. So it's going to be a lot of wide receivers that you're going to want in your lineups from this game. Man, it's going to be tough to have to make the DFS picks for Sunday because I see so many points scored in both of those games. But that's what we're here for. That's what we're here to do, is to provide you with our suggestions. We do the homework, so you don't have to. All you got to do is listen. And then plug in accordingly. Sit back and enjoy. So, I think there's going to be a ton of points scored on these Sunday games. I think they're going to be a lot of fun. I think the Chiefs beat the Browns. And on the flip side, in the late game, I know the Saints did it twice, but I think the Bucs do it this time. I don't think Tom Brady loses to the same opponent three times in a row in 1 year. I think we're getting an AFC championship game between Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, and I think we're getting an NFC championship game between Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. So we'll see what happens. Still got to play the games. And I cannot wait for this weekend for football. Keep it locked with the Face Mask Podcast. We will have our DFS picks for you for this weekend. So that all you have to do is listen to our suggestions, plug those bad boys in, and hopefully we'll get you some payouts. That's the plan.